Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. This week, we'll be showcasing some never-before spine-chilling and quite frankly disturbing trail cam footage you wouldn't want to miss. If you love a thrill and all things mysterious, stay till the end and you'll find yourself joyous. Have you ever seen a man killer? Well, we start today's video with one. The image you see on your screen is a capture that the uploader believed was a cryptid. If you have been following this channel for a very long time, then you should know what we mean when we say cryptid. It refers to creatures like Bigfoot and Dogman and what have you. Upon closer examination of this image, it becomes apparent why. While the creature may look like the American black bear, there are some differences. It has longer limbs and a longer face and seems to be capable of walking on its hind legs. Could we be looking at another type of cryptid never seen before? Although it's tempting to embrace the excitement of the paranormal community and declare a new cryptid, a simple Google image search reveals that this is a Mexican black bear. It's the cousin of the American black bear and is known to possess the features seen in the image. In other words, there's nothing weird or odd happening here. Although the first capture could be explained, we can't say the same for this footage. This was captured by individuals who were going through a path in the woods, hoping to capture glimpses of wildlife. As they drove deeper into the woods, spending a considerable amount of time, it seems that their hopes of spotting any wildlife were dwindling. Just as their hopes were fading, they spot something odd-looking in the distance. It looks like a creature covered in abundant fur, but here's the kicker. It's strolling on 2 feet, just like us humans. Even the nimblest chimps can't manage the grace and fluidity with which this creature moves. Stunned, they yearn to approach the creature for a closer look, but alas, it vanished from their sight, leaving an indelible mark on their minds. They get close and stop at the exact spot where they lost sight of the creature. At that moment, the realization dawned upon them. The creature had vanished into the woods. However, despite their intense curiosity, none of them mustered the courage to venture deeper in search of answers. I can't say I blame them given the odd-looking nature of what they'd seen. I'd be apprehensive too. But I want answers. What exactly was that? My team and I delved into research and made a fascinating discovery. The footage hails from New England in North America. Now, if you're familiar with the paranormal community, you'll know that this region is renowned for its numerous Bigfoot sightings. This leads us to a burning question. Had they narrowly missed seeing Bigfoot in its full glory? Tell us what you think in the comments section. Next up, we have this capture from Central Kentucky. It comes from a driver whose curiosity had exposed him to more than he'd anticipated and thought he could handle. Under the cover of the night, he decided to embark on a woodland escapade seeking a thrilling adventure. Little did he know, his exploration would lead him to an eerie and inexplicable sight, captured right before your eyes. It was a carcass of a creature he initially thought was a bear. He took a picture and got home, only to realize that it might not be a bear at all. If you look closely, you'll see a head that doesn't look canine in the least, a hunchback and a foot. He thought he'd discovered something interesting, a Bigfoot. That's how he, at least, uploaded it online. But is that really a Bigfoot? Admittedly, the head doesn't resemble that of a bear, but could decomposition be distorting its appearance? The same applies to the feet. They too show signs of decomposition. For the feet, bears do have feet as well, with 5 toes equipped with strong claws. The hunchback could only be because of its lying position. But what do you think? Bear or Bigfoot? How would you respond when Google Street View shows you pictures of a suspicious-looking man in a mask kneeling instead of the remote serene woods you're hoping to see? Well, for the owner of the image, this is no hypothetical question. Google uses different methods and technology to make sure you get the best of its application, like Maps, Earth, and even the Street View. How then does something like this end up on Google Street View? Could there have been an error, or did the application actually capture a wicked and suspicious-looking man out there? Assuming the man is real, could it be cosplay, or is there a dangerous and possibly wicked, heartless man out there in the woods taking lives? While we may not know the exact location to verify this, what do you personally think? Is this real, or is it simply a hoax? Next up, we have this trail cam capture from the year 2013, captured in North Carolina, which is quite disturbing and a little bit sad. In the image on your screen, you can see what looks like a little girl running through the woods. But why is this image so sad and disturbing? If you take a closer look at the image, you'll realize that her arms do not look normal, almost as if they're deformed in some way, and despite her having her head and face, she does look faceless. There are many that believe that we may be dealing with a ghost or spirit of some sort. If this is true, does that mean that this little girl was killed in the woods? Possibly got lost or kidnapped and killed there. Well, we can't say for sure, but anytime I see ghost images of kids in the woods, I can't help but get sad. Who knows what horrors they might have had to endure. This might be the reason why they are trapped in the woods and not able to find peace. It makes me wish that they're not true. Speaking of being false, there are some who argue that perhaps the quality of the image could account for the discrepancies. While that sounds plausible, there are too many things wrong to think the quality of the image is the problem. But as always, what do you think? Tell us in the comments section. Going back to North England, we have this trail cam capture from September 2010 that we'd like you to see. A man living in the area had been noticing the apples in his orchard were getting stolen and he couldn't tell how. To get to the bottom of it, he installed a trail cam and it captured what you see on your screen. Initially, he couldn't tell what he was looking at, but after a while, he realized it was a giant creature picking an apple from the ground. It's a hairy giant, almost like a giant ape. But that's where it gets odd, because there are no apes in New England. It took a while, but the owner of the footage soon realized it actually potentially captured a Sasquatch. Looking at the features in the image, although blurry, it has to be, right? Tell us what you think. I know we've featured the dog man on this channel before, but I'm not sure we've done so with a video as spine-chilling as this. Two guys were staying in an isolated cabin in the woods when they started hearing strange and ungodly sounds. Curious and worried, they stepped out and their security cam captured what you see on your screen. If you pay attention to the footage, you'll see a large creature appear on the left side of the screen. It looks like it's got big forearms and a bigger body to match. The video quality is so bad you can't really tell what you're looking at. Some members of the online paranormal community, however, think it's a wounded grizzly, whilst others think it's a werewolf. But a majority believe that we could be definitely looking at a dog man. I want to believe it's one of these, preferably the dog man, but as I keep watching the video over and over, the excitement wanes and it's replaced by a lot of questions. Why did the video end so abruptly if it's real? Why do the creature's movements look a little unnatural? Is this an elaborate hoax to deceive dogman enthusiasts? So many questions. But what do you think? We've seen the ghosts and spirits of humans more often than we can state on this channel, but what about animals? If anyone asked whether animals had ghosts, I would have laughed at the idea, but here's a video challenging that assertion. If you watch the video closely, you see an owl moving through the environment. At this moment, it looks like any other owl, but once the owl lifts off from the ground, we see what looks like a ghostly form of a bird lift off as well and fly in the opposite direction. Unlike the real bird that lands on the stump in front of it, the ghostly shadow disappears. If that's a ghost, what does that mean? Because the bird is still alive. Or could it be a spirit of that particular forest that takes the form of owls because they populate the area? Well, we can't say for sure, but it could also be an otherworldly creature taking the form of the bird. From a logical standpoint, we are stumped. There seems to be no explanation for this baffling footage. One possibility is that the camera could be reacting in peculiar ways under certain conditions. If that's the case, can any one of you explain? We'd like to read it in the comments section. Next up, we have another capture from a trail cam in the woods. In this motion trail capture, we see an ape-like creature walking through the woods as though it were no one's problem. But once you start taking a critical look at the creature, you soon realize that it's no ape at all. It's longer arms than you'd expect from a traditional ape, and it's moving in a way apes do not naturally move. Its movements almost look human-like, which the most skilled chimpanzee would not be capable of emulating. What's more, the area within which the footage was taken has no apes in the region. There's only one explanation, the sighting then. Bigfoot. But what do you think? Do giant spiders exist? If you answered no, how do you explain this? Yes, what you're seeing on your screen is an actual blanket of spiderwebs. A group of individuals walked into the forest and found various trees covered in spiderwebs, something that we might have relegated to fiction in the past. If I were there, I'd freak out thinking some ancient giant spider was lurking. I'd probably run for my life. Interestingly, the people who stumbled upon this place had the exact same thought. I mean, if there was a spider capable of putting such giant trees in a web, then it certainly had to be big. But fortunately for them, they never encountered anything deadly or dangerous. Scientists carefully examined the footage and conducted on-site investigations. After testing the web, they came up with a new hypothesis. They stated that instead of one giant spider, the web could have come from thousands of smaller spiders who may have multiplied due to an abundance of food during the summer. What do you think, though? Next up is this odd footage that was taken across the street in the city. At first glance, you'll think the creature in view is a stray dog, but as the video plays out, you realize that it looks nothing like your everyday dog. Its body proportions do not fit the description of a regular dog, and it appears to be hairless, almost sharing the likeness of a chupacabra. But what if it's not just sharing the likeness of the chupacabra, but is actually one? As the video shows, it's seen munching on something, or should I say, sucking out its blood. And we all know who's infamous for feasting on livestock blood, right? None other than the good old Chuppy. Now, here's a million-dollar question. Do you think that that's just some stray dog, or could it possibly be a real-life chupacabra? Tell us in the comments section. This image just sends shivers down my spine. The idea of the Wolfman actually existing is a nightmare to many people, yet here's an image that might just prove that they do exist. In the image, we see a dog-furred beast with somewhat human features. The posture of the headshot makes it seem to appear to be standing on two legs. As much as the image seems frighteningly real, deep down, I had a hunch that it might just be a costume, and it turns out I was right. Despite some attempts to present it as a paranormal creature sighting, our investigations revealed that it actually belonged to a popular costume maker, putting an end to the mystery and the excitement surrounding the image. Bummer. As if we haven't had enough surprises today, take a look at this trail cam footage. Is this some kind of wildlife circus show? 3 mountain lions were captured moving on sticks. To be fair, it appears to be a fence, but it's still undeniably impressive. I still don't know what's going through their minds, but maybe they were having a hard time catching prey and decided to look around or perhaps wait and lure them in. No matter what, I bet circus masters and animal trainers would love to have this kind of spectacle in their shows. If this proves anything, it's that it's better to observe animals in their natural habitats than to confine them in circuses, where they're forced to perform tricks using cruel methods and training. What do you think? If you were wowed by the circus trio, this will blow your mind. I don't know what scientists are cooking up in their labs, but this is very suspicious. Someone managed to capture an insect, and you won't believe what they found. It had the number 36 branded on it. Unless you have an explanation for insects getting numbers tattooed on them, this worries me and is quite frankly scary. Is this some kind of lab-generated insect, or a spy insect with the designation Agent 036? Or is it merely a fake? Initially, I was skeptical and thought it might be fake, but then another person shared footage of a smaller insect with similar markings. Could these insects be artificially created due to a scarcity of insects capable of performing specific functions, or are the scientists involved in something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments section. This photo was taken in the woods where no one was supposed to be living. Despite being a remote region, there was a hole in the ground shaped like a coffin. It was almost as though a grave had been dug out of the place, but whose grave? Although we don't have much info, conspiracy theories on what it might possibly be are flying all over the paranormal community. Some believe it's a coffin belonging to a vampire, whereas some claim the dead buried centuries ago had risen. All these sound ridiculous, but we currently have no logical explanations for the scenario. Do you? This footage was taken by someone who appears to be taking a walk in what looks like a jungle. As you can see, there's a lot of greenery around as the footage continues. Our adventurer explores further and comes across a bridge. But halfway through the bridge, this person catches something on camera. Did you see that? Right among the rocks, a little further away from the shallow river, you won't believe your eyes. There's a creature standing on two legs. At first glance, its posture seems human. But upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that this entity is anything but human. The entity was very skinny and green, making it appear camouflaged within its green surroundings. In contrast, its head is unusually large, adorned with two mysterious black dots that I can only assume are its eyes. If you subscribe to the paranormal, then you should know that it fits the description of what the community loves to call aliens. Could this creature be a scout for an incoming planned invasion? Share your thoughts with us. Does this look like what I think it is? A T-Rex? You know, we shouldn't even be fazed by these sightings anymore. Back in the day, if I stumbled upon this trail cam footage, I'd debunk it without hesitation. But at this point, when scientists are trying to resurrect woolly mammoths, the likelihood of a dinosaur roaming around is not impossible. Technically speaking, though, that's not a T-Rex. It's too small to be. Instead, it's a Velociraptor, and although smaller, these things are no joke. Sure, it could be a hoax, but considering the remarkable progress of science, we might actually have a real-life Jurassic Park in just a few years, which sounds fun, but then could also spell doom for all humanity. Whether or not we bring back dinosaurs is a topic for another day. Today, we want to get to the bottom of this. Do you think it's real, or is this fake? The wild is not merciful to the weak, as they are typically prey. In the relentless pursuit of food, animals must be wary of becoming a meal themselves. In this trail cam footage, we see an opossum venturing into a hole in a massive rock, but it's not seeking shelter for the night. Unbeknownst to the possum, a crafty coyote lurks just above the rocks, eyeing its every move. As the coyote descends to claim its meal, the opossum skillfully disappears into the shadows within the rock. The predator's desperate gaze sweeps across every corner, but the elusive opossum remains elusive. I guess the opossum was lucky then, or was it? This footage gives me the creeps. Listen closely and you'll hear a woman's voice in the background, capturing what seems to be a typical scene with her son. At first glance, everything appears ordinary, but let's direct our attention to the tree behind the boy, just beyond the motorcycle. Did you see that? Take a look again. Was that a limb? What could that be? Initially, I considered it a snake or a prankster, but upon closer inspection, it becomes apparent that the mysterious figure emerging from behind the tree is covered in hair. Snakes are scaly and humans seldom have hair on their hands. What then could it be? A juvenile Bigfoot, an ape, or a Pombero? We'll leave that up to you to decide. And for the last of today's posts, we've got a miracle for you. One look at this and paranormal enthusiasts might speculate it's a cursed creature, a skinwalker, or a shapeshifter. But let me burst your bubble. It's simply a deformed goat. Meet this remarkable goat born without its hind legs, yet thriving and living just like any other farm animal in China. Experts believe that this deformity may have been caused by a calcium-phosphorus imbalance due to the mother's pregnancy or other complications. Most younglings do not even make it out of the womb alive, and if they do, they barely survive a week. But this little guy here happens to be among the strong few. The deformed animal can move gracefully and balance itself on its front legs without a problem. Just look at this little guy go. This is a miracle on two legs. And that's all for today. Thanks for staying this long. See you in the next one.